the cloud. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. It is September 26th. It is Monday. This is the Smart Networker, and I'm Dave Rolfe. And welcome to another call on Zoom. And it's interesting. This weekend, I took some time for personal stuff, and it's near the end of the month, and I'm in the midst of rewriting my book, and I finished my 10 chapters, and now I've got to edit and then, make sure everything's included. Got a lot of inspiration actually from that's amazing on the content of what's in this. So I think you'll all enjoy it very well. But I didn't put any attention on doing a recorded or a pre-planned presentation for today. And from time to time we do this, which is great. We kind of have an open forum and we talk about things. And so in the preamble, I asked a question about what to talk about, and a topic came up about the end of the year and going for finishing off the year, going for an objective, reaching a goal, so on and so forth. And this is a great topic because I think that it's really important to understand, your situation. So from a specific viewpoint, from the viewpoint of playing this game, and I say playing the game because it's the same as a game in the sense that it has barriers, it has obstacles to overcome. In a sense, you have opponents and you have team members, and you're striving to reach objectives and so on and so forth. And our major cycle for us as a business is a month. And what's really interesting about this concept, it starts at the first of the month and it ends at the end of the month, and then you restart. There is no cycle that goes 6 months or a year or 2 years. Those are additional aspects of participation. Now, you're a business. So as a business, you have a focus, you have a goal, you have a reason for that goal, you have your policies that you operate on, you have your overall plan, you have your strategy, and you have your daily activities and protocols and orders that have to be done in order to get whatever you are trying to accomplish. So in our business, it's really quite simple. Our business is selling products or signing up distributors who sell products. I mean, those are the two functions. Everything else is kind of like, well, it's added. Is it applicable? Is it not applicable? Does it affect the bottom line? Does it not affect the bottom line? What are you trying to do here? Becomes the order of the day and what's important. Now, what I've observed for 32 years is there are a lot of distractions that get entered into the mix, and those distractions may or may not be important to you or to other people. But they are distractions. They are initiated. There's a reason behind it. There's it's really quite interesting. I'll give you an example. We used to have a group called Team Diamond, and Team Diamond put on these large events all over the country. They were done every quarter. And then on an annual basis, we had a leadership event in Maui. And the main message from the stage was building width. Now, this is a fascinating story because the business works on building depth. If you just got a piece of paper, and you can demonstrate this for yourself, and you go sponsor 10 wide, and then at the same time do another picture of you sponsoring one person 10 deep, and tell me which is the strongest, best organization. Well, I'm going to tell you the one that goes deep is the strongest, best organization. But the business grows naturally in depth. So when you come in somebody up above you, you are the 6th level for somebody, or the 5th level, or the 4th level, or the 3rd level, or the 2nd level, or the 1st level to somebody above you. And the same thing applies for your organization. You bring in somebody, they're on the 1st level. They bring in somebody that's your 2nd level. They bring in somebody that's your 3rd level, all the way down. Now, what was happening to the big boys? And when I say the big boys, the guys at the very top, the organization was already so far below their ability to get paid. The major volume of the business was below their pay level. They were doing great. But what they observed was that with the way it grows naturally, if they didn't focus your attention on going wide up above, that's why they did it. They said, okay, I want you to go sponsor more people, go wider, go wider, go wider. Well, why did they say that? Well, they said that because they wanted the business in their pay zone. And I want you to really understand that. So if let's say I'm the head of this business, I'm at the top, and you're down on my 4th, 5th, and 6th level, but you're focusing on your 6th, 7th, and 8th level. So the volume is out of where I can get paid. And as a result of that, I'm not really interested in what you do. This is a phenomenon that happens in this industry. It is like no direct benefit, well, it's out of sight, out of mind kind of a thing. So what the leadership at the top started to realize was that it was growing below their ability to earn money on it, and they had to change that. And so they changed it by getting you to focus on activities that would benefit them, not necessarily you. Now, that was the old days. That's what happened. That occurred. But the message is really quite clear, is what you need to do for your business is pay attention what you need, not what somebody else is promoting. So when you look at what other people are promoting, you have to look at, well, why are they promoting that, or what does that mean to me? So in other words, if we understand how the business works, it works when you go out and sell product, or you go out and sponsor another distributor, and your success is then dependent on their success. That's how it works. So if you had a downline, let's say you had a gold in your organization that wasn't producing, and they had 10 or 20 people underneath them that weren't producing. Well, that's your business as well as it is theirs. And your job is to make sure that they're producing, not producing, if you follow where I'm coming from. So in the sense of understanding what to do or how to do it, you have to go on your plan. And here's what I found to be the truth of this, was that each and every one of us is an individual. Each and every one of us is doing this for our own reason and our own benefits. And that's what you've got to stay true to. So the first thing that you've got to do is you've got to set out what your objective is. What's it made up of? How does it work? And what do you have to do to get that job done? Now, you brought up the thing about the contest for Japan. Now, that may or may not be something that's important to everybody, but it's what the company has put out there as a benefit and a contest to help you build the business. So it's a tool, it's a resource for you to go out and do what's necessary to, win this contest and then go to Japan and so on and so forth. But what one has to really look at the same time, is this going to create viability for you? I'll give you an example. Second month of the business, I did 49,000 points, and I won the trip to Japan. But I couldn't go to Japan because I couldn't afford the fluff money. I'm serious, dead serious. I made $4,300 from the business, but my business expense was $8,000 a month, or living expenses. That was my monthly budget. So I made $4,300. So I didn't even have enough to take care of my personal needs. And then I had this trip to go to Japan, which was what okay. So my viewpoint was, well, okay, I can't go to Japan. I couldn't afford to go to Japan. So the message was, well, what's important here? What's the order of importance in the sense of what do I listen to? What do I pay attention to? How do I do this thing? It's the same thing in the sense of when I first got going, and the guys up above me at that time were Reed Nelson, Al Kiernan, and Kyle. They had 3 guys, 3 wives, and they built this business. They started in 1990, and they did really well. Now, they said that the key to this is you put together a list of a couple hundred people, and then you go out and invite those people to the event. Well, later, maybe 10 years later, I found out that, or maybe I found out earlier, I can't remember. But anyway, they had just come from another network marketing company, and they had a list of 200 network marketers. Now, I just want you to put 2 and 2 together here. So their circumstance, they've just come from another company where they now were switching to Nikon, and they brought with them a list of 200 names of network marketers that were in that other company, and that's how they started their business. And so now they're coming along to me, who was not part of that, new person, said, well, you got to start with a list of 200 people, and then you got to go talk to them about the business. But they didn't tell me that the list they had was network marketers. It seemed to me that they were just a list of 200 people. Do you follow what I'm saying here? So the actual intention and the actual value of the information was not correct for me. It was correct for them, and it was right for what they wanted, but it wasn't necessarily right for me, because all I had was a list of 15 people. And what I needed to hear was, what do I need to do to get to where I want to get to? And is this going to help me? And is this going to get where I want to get? Now, fortunately, because of experience, I knew what I had to do. And I knew what it was made up of. It was made up of people. And it's a constant. You're constantly going to be talking to people. I mean, that's just the nature of this beast. As a matter of fact, every day that you get up, you should have the first thing on your mind, who am I going to talk to today so that I can get excited or interested in this business? Because that's what it's made up of. It's made up of people, and it's made up of individuals who have goals, have dreams, have, whatever they want to do. Some may want to go to Dubai, some may want to go to Hawaii, some may want to go to Japan, some may want to go to Africa, some may want to go to Colombia. Who knows? That's their choice. So in the sense of moving forward, the example of using that contest, I would put that in perspective in the sense of, is this going to get me what I want? Or is this just going to get me to Japan? Or is it going to do both? And that basically comes back to, this was on daverolf.com as in the Take a Look series on getting organized. And in the getting organized section, you have your goal, your reason for your goal, and your policy that you're going to follow, then your basic plan of how you're going to do it, and then your overall business plan and strategy, any projects you got to get done, the orders that you give yourself and your team members, and then how you're going to monitor your activities. What are you going to evaluate? And this is one of the other things that it just is mind-boggling to me, is that people go out and don't record what they do. And then they go down a period of time and they come back and they scratch their head as, well, can't remember what I did there. Oh, I don't know how I got there. Or they were told, you want to go to silver, make a mess. And they make a mess, they get to silver, and then they didn't know how they got there and they couldn't teach other people to get there, which is the whole game. Again, it's kind of like, you're a baker and you come up with this incredible recipe to bake this absolutely fantastic, gorgeous chocolate cake. and then you create it, you write down the ingredients, and then you take those ingredients on a piece of paper and you give it to the next person, and they get to duplicate that. We see that's our business, is teaching other people the activities that need to be done to get the results they want to get. Now, not everybody wants the same results. Not everybody is turned on by the same stuff. Not everybody has the same circumstances. And so what you have to be careful of is whose circumstances are being promoted, and do they fit your circumstance, and how do you take advantage of that becomes an interesting message. And this happens with everything. Right now, this happens in the general area of social networking. You get all kinds of people have all kinds of opinion, and your opinion can be swayed by what other people say, what other people do, how other people react. But what I found to be the truth is you gotta hang on to what it is that is important to you, and you have to understand what makes that, and then you have to go focus your attention on getting that done. So that's how I would take a look at that situation. And again, in today's world, it's rather important. Now, if your primary objective was travel and you wanted to go to Japan, then following that contest then becomes the game to play. And it has rules, it has barriers, you know what to do. I think the top person has 55,000 points. I think he's sitting right in front of you and leading the way. And then the lowest end has 8,900 points. And the game is the first 20 who have 30 plus go on an all expense trip. The next 20 that do 25,000 get their room and board. They just have to take care of their travel arrangements. And so that's the game to be played. Now, if from the standpoint, okay, sounds good, Angie. If from the standpoint of that's what you're trying to accomplish, then that's what you go for. But what's important to understand is what's important to you first, because that's going to then make your life better. And I'll give you another example, which falls on this. So we know that there are two activities in this business. One is selling products to individuals, and the second is recruiting other distributors who do the same thing as you. They sell product and they recruit other distributors. Now, from that perspective, okay, of doing those activities, you want to now make a living by doing this business. You want this business to be your mainstay. And so your budget is, let's say, in today's world, it's got to be $6,000 or $7,000 a month minimum. But maybe you have another job, so it's just part-time, so it's $3,000 a month. So that's what you need to make, is $3,000 a month to be on top of the world, to get what you want, to live the life that you want, to pay the bills that you want, et cetera, et cetera. Now, how do you look at that? What's important here? Is it going out and signing up a person at wholesale and getting them to spend $20 and not do anything? Or is there another answer to this question? So what you really have to look at is okay, how do I define the activity that goes on in this business? How do I look at this? So back in the day when I started this business, I sponsored 7 or 8 or 10 or 12 people in the first couple of months. And I observed that none of them were doing anything. They weren't creating any volume. They weren't making any sales. And I had scratched my head and said, well, something wrong here. There's something not right about this particular picture. It's not, number one, it's not creating any volume. I'm not making an override from it, if you know what I mean. And so I'm not getting what I want. So by observation of what was being done, I looked at, well, I was doing what I was told to do, is sign up distributors, but that wasn't creating what I wanted to create. So maybe there was something more to this than just that activity. I'm going to give you another example. Go to the policies and procedures and look up the definition of a gold distributor. Now it has two parts. The first part is what you need to do to get to gold. And then the second is what you need to do on a monthly basis to qualify to get paid as a gold distributor. Now, the first part is, we know it's 15,000 points. And then I think you have to have a couple of distributors and so on and so forth. But it's a volume situation, all right, to get to gold. But it doesn't tell you the benefit and how to get to the benefit of gold. What's the benefit of getting to gold distributor? It's to be paid on 3 generations of leaders below you. So what's missing in that definition is, how do you build to the 3 levels below you so you get paid as a gold distributor? So one of the things that we realized very early on, there is no prize in rank unless it opens up another level of pay. I really want you to take a look at that, because there are people that are seeking to be ranked, or they bought a position, or they had to be a ranked distributor, but that there is no prize there unless it's connected with, the volume, which is connected to pay. So for example, I'm a diamond distributor in 1996. And if I was a royal diamond, I'd be making $120,000 a month. At that time, I was making $50,000 a month. So for me to go from diamond to royal diamond was a jump of $70,000 a month in income. Well, let me ask you this question. Would you be motivated to build to royal diamond for an extra $70,000 a month that was already there? So absolutely you would. Now, it took me 2 years, but it was worth it, because I got there, and then it went higher, and it lasted for years, and it was like, oh my goodness, what a neat deal. But that was the real prize. So what you have to look at is, sometimes what you hear or see is not really what's important. But what's important is what's behind that, what it's made up of, what's the structure, and how does that relate to you in your life, in your situation? Because again, what I've observed in 32 years, when people get distracted, they don't get to what they want to get to. And if they don't get to what they want to get, they're going to do one of two things. They're going to go somewhere else that they think they can get it, or they're going to leave here and not be involved in the future. And unfortunately, that's life, right? We see that in all aspects of life. We see that in relationships. We see that with families. We see that with businesses. We see that with countries, politics, the whole 9 yards. So it's not that it's an unusual way things go, but if you look beyond it, you can really see. So what then becomes important is what you want and how that is made and created, period. Anything over above that is extra, it's a bonus. So in the sense of, you got short term, you got long term, you got retail, you got wholesale, you got distributors, et cetera, et cetera. So that would be the message that I would put across, is to whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, then your first objective is to understand what needs to be done to get that. And here's why that's so valuable, because everything else that you hear, see, or experience would bounce off that one idea. So for example, you need to do, when you want to make 5,000 a month. And in today's world, 5,000 a month divided by 6% means you have to do 83,333 in commissionable volume. Now you could do You can do retail sales, you can do wholesale sales, or you can build a team of leaders. Now, for most, and based on everything that I know, the majority of that kind of money is going to come from leadership bonuses, that 6% group. So, okay, so we see that that's the case. So in order to get there, that's 83,333 in CV. So it's now September 2022. At the end of this month, you do 20,000 CV. Did you reach your goal? How important is it to go on a vacation? What's the most important thing to do? Do you have enough distributors? Do you get what I'm saying here? In other words, you know you need 83,000 to reach your goal, but you only did 20,000. So is there anything else to think about other than going and recruiting people to get to your 83,000? You see, that's what a business would do. So what a business has got, see, you're the person, your distributorship is a thing, it's a business that you control, you operate, you dictate what happens, et cetera, et cetera. You set a goal, you set an objective. Your objective is to make $3,000 or $5,000 a month. The majority of that income is going to come from leadership bonuses, the others extra, the others gravy. But understand what that money does, understand where that puts you in life and living and responsibility. So it sets you up. This is what you're going after. Now, let's really take a look at this. If it's not going to give you what you want, are you going to continue doing it? In all likelihood, no, because that's also life. And that's also what I've experienced for the majority of my business career. If it's not giving you what you want, then why do you continuously try to stick a square peg in a round hole? Doesn't work. The idea is to solve the problem, is to figure out the solution, is to make it work so life is enjoyable, not a hell or a struggle. So again, the goal is 83,000, you hit 20. So where's the focus got to be? It's got to be on how do you go from 20 to 80? What are the components of that? What's that made up of? So you evaluate the 20 and then you say, okay, to get to 80, that's 4 times I did for the 20. And there's your instructions, there's what you do. Now, there's other things that become important, like understanding the benefit of knowing structure and how that works, understanding where to work and understanding where that goes, and so on and so forth, and how to build a team. Now, one of the most fascinating things that I learned, and I'll pass this on because I think it's important for you, is that at the very beginning, when I sponsored Wide, and that didn't work, and then my mentor said, go deep. And he said, what you want to do is you want to build the depth, and you want to then what's called tap rooting. So if you've got a silver, you want levels of silver below you. If you're a gold, then you want 3 levels of gold below you. So that was the idea. So the first guy that I sponsored, George, in our second month, I took this concept and I went with George, and we went and found a guy by the name of Al, not Al, and we went and Jay. Was George's first guy. Jay was really excited. He went and found a guy by the name of Al. Al then found a guy by the name of Moshe, and the 4 of us built Moshe's business. Now, how do we build his business? Well, Moshe brought people to the picnic. We provided the environment. We put on the meetings. We did the support. We did ABCs. We helped Moshe get 40 people in his business. And we also did more as well. But the 4 of us all went silver. Now, I want you to look at that for a second. Now, we did 49,000 points. But there were 48, 49 people. So it was an average of about 1,000 people. So not a big deal, not unusual to today, nothing that couldn't be done in the same way today. But what we created was a team that were all on the same page, all in the same organization, all wanting to help each other, then that organization exploded after that. I took that idea and I duplicated that and built it again. Now, if I look at my success over time, my success over time was based on having strong leadership underneath me, having other royal diamonds, having other diamonds, having platinums, golds, whatever. And again, what's a leader? Well, a leader is somebody that establishes activities and makes things go right and builds the business. So if you have people underneath you that are doing that, then there's your benefit long term. So I'm going to wrap this up because I think the moral of the story is rather simple. You build your business according to the marketing plan, and everything else is extra. If you're getting what you want, then the bonuses are bonuses. So just keep that in mind as far as what you're trying to accomplish, but make sure that you're true to what it is that you want first. And then from there, you know, whatever it is, if you want what they want and they want what you want and everybody's on the same page, perfect. But sometimes I found that that wasn't the case, and that different agendas for different folks. So you have to look at things for what they are and how they relate to your specific situation, and then stay focused on what you want. When you get to what you want, then you can add on or change or go for more things. So we'll leave that as today's message, and we'll go into a Q&A. So thanks for being on today, and we'll see you next time on the Smart Networker.